and a 1. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what?
Uh-oh.
Said an error happened.
I'm done.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, come on in. We're going to give everybody a second to gather round, as we say.
Well.
And we want to give up before I introduce my guest, we're going to give props to the person who was first in the chat, Mr. Bad Robot. I don't know if he can win something. You know, this is the famous Stan Lee no prize, but salute to you. You were the first one in here. But before we get all into that, let me bring in the fellas. Fellas,
Yeah.
Hit me.
anybody hot?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. Lord. And anyway, what's going on, Dwayne? Sir, Dwayne's reading his own book. How
Just
about
brushing
that?
up. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Big Sexy, how are you, sir?
Hot.
Oh,
Hot.
there. See, he was a little late.
Hot. There's nothing funny about this heat here, man. They're not
That still
playing.
doesn't lyrics. That still doesn't lyrics to cool.
Right, okay.
See, I was thinking jerk out. Jerk out everything in sight.
Oh,
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
there's always there's a song. There's a Prince song for every occasion.
You're probably right.
Oh yeah.
Probably
No matter
right.
what, no matter what emotion you got, he's got something. He's got something.
Man, well, welcome everybody. Hopefully you guys are having a good time tonight. You had a good day, but we are here. We are joined with a special guest, Mr. Duane Tudahl. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing excellent. Friday night, TGIF, hanging out with my friends.
Absolutely. It's
Better.
Friday
Welcome.
night. Instead of
Exactly.
doing what I use. Now, here's the quick setup for this
Yes.
is I'm minding my own business yesterday.
True.
I don't know what I was doing. And Dwayne comes in. Dwayne enters the chat. He's like, hey, Mike, are you doing a live show?
That's
tomorrow?
how I sound too. That's exactly how I sound too. Hey, Mike.
And I'm like, no, but what's going on, Dwayne? And then he proceeds to sort of, this. And then he's like, and here, take a read on this.
True.
And I'm like, okay, Dwayne, stop playing with me. I'm like, man, yeah,
Well,
we're doing a live show tomorrow.
as a testament to you, you immediately said, I'm not doing a live show tomorrow. And then you looked at me, I'll do a live show tomorrow night. I love that. That's the fantastic. I reached out to you because I wanted to announce something, and I wanted to I'm trying to get some people in the room here before we
Okay. Well, while we're doing that, and I will tell you that we're also going to be taking some calls and questions for Dwayne a little bit later here, so you'll have an opportunity to call in, and we'll also, you can leave a chat as well. But shout out a few people who are coming in the room. Let me show some love to Purple Nights podcast. What's going on, man? I love it. I love it. Stephanie Mills. Good evening. How do? Vault Curator. Sorry, hello. He says hi, Chris. Maybe he's talking to Purple Knights.
He
Chad.
probably was. Yeah.
Chad Womack. What's going on, sir? I love his
Excellent.
last name. There's a classic Seatown, Seattle rapper by the name of Womack. And so every time I see that name, I was thinking him. But anyway, what we got in here? Bradley, what's going on, sir? I see you. Mr. Slade, how you doing?
Nice. Good evening.
Oh, I think you know this person here. What's going on, Robbie?
I do know Robbie. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, good to
Robbie's
see
great.
you. Yeah.
Robbie.
Claire, what's going
Claire, I
on?
love Claire. Claire's calling from. Where are you calling from? Or where are you reaching out from, Claire? Claire's far away.
So on planet Earth.
Yeah,
Still on Earth.
Planet Claire.
Michael Young Jr.
Junior.
Salute. Here we go. What's going on? Ronnie Shea. My bad. Oh, what's on my hometown people? Bond. What's going on, Bond?
I do, Bob.
Pacific Northwest. And I
People.
think I know this guy right here. Always got something slick to
Always
say.
got something to say, man. Hey, man, look, man, this was last minute. I was at work and things were happening. Shut up.
And also, we want to shout out the great Casey Rains.
Casey,
How are
what's up,
you?
man?
Hey, Casey, what's up, man?
Absolutely. All right, Randy, what's going on, sir?
Is Casey still out in Los Angeles?
Damon, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think Casey be still in Los Angeles. I know he's been hanging out there.
Bad robot. All right,
True.
man. Salute to everybody in the chat. We could be here all
Wendy.
night going
Wendy.
through. Salute to
There's a lot of
Wendy.
people.
Yeah, there's
So many of these people. I love so many of these people. So many
Yeah.
people I talk. This is great. Deb, how you doing?
There we go. There we
Oh
go.
wow, from Melbourne, Australia. Wow.
Yes, and
Tomorrow
I'm
there.
falling
It's tomorrow.
behind. He says yes.
That's good. Good. Good.
All right.
Excellent. Wish I was
All
there.
right.
Okay. Here we go.
Let's get into the getting on. And let me say also before we get into this, Dwayne,
Mhm.
man, I want to say it politely and with love.
Uh-oh.
But because I read that
Yes.
and I was
nobody
like,
knows what you're.
okay, let's just right now Mike is saying a friendly F you. A friendly F you to Dwayne in a good way. In a good way.
I get those all the time.
There you go. Okay. So
Yeah.
with that said, sir, it's not
What I
about me,
wanted
it's
to,
about you.
what I
So
wanted
there's
to
yours.
announce to people is I'm working on the third book, and until that time, the paperback for the second book, which is this book, is coming out in October 15th.
Mm.
What's going to make this interesting is it's not an expanded version. I promised I wouldn't do an expanded version. It does have some new information in it. Luckily, in the middle of after the book came out, I started talking to Susie Davis, who was Sheely's keyboard player, and she had a diary of the Purple Rain tour, and she let me see some of the stuff, and so I was able to get a lot more information for certain dates. She's singing on a song, things like that. So I included that in the book and shuffled a little bit of January 1985. 1985. Had to think about it around a little bit. So she confirmed certain things, and now it's more robust. And there's a couple stories throughout the show for the book about her and things she's talking about. Some great stuff. I remember about a month or two, or a couple months ago, there was a videotape floating around that was a rehearsal that was being sold, and it was what was it called? Shoot, I can't remember what it was, but they were making fun of the family.
Oh, was it something cousin or
yeah,
something?
Carl's cousin.
Carl's cousin. Yeah.
So she talks about Carl's cousin and gives a little more detail about where that came from and what was involved with that, which is kind of fun.
Interesting.
But the other thing that's really most fun I wanted to announce to everybody about this is there's an extra chapter in here. I couldn't leave it alone. And what I did is I put a sneak preview of book 3 in there, which is a small section of what happens in book 3. Book 3 is going to be 1987. There it is. 1987, 1988. And you can see in this little dot in there, it says with a sneak preview of the third book, the next book in this series. What this covers in there is the reaction of Paisley Park the day after the Black Album is canceled. And it goes through all the things involved with that. I interviewed Levi and Eric, Alan Leeds, and the engineers, and Matt Fink, and Kat Glover, and a friend of mine, Scott Bogan, interviewed Ingrid Chavez for this book. And so it's all this new information. On top of that, after the reaction to that, it's the next week of starting to record Love Sexy. So it goes through several of the songs. About almost half the songs in the thing are recorded in the first week. And it's kind of fun. Dance On, a bunch of these different things. And so that's what is going to be the extra piece in this. And I'm really excited because it's sort of the official announcement that the third book is officially being worked on. The third book is going to be coming. I don't have a date on that yet, but there's now a chance to read a good, I think it covers about a week or so of what Prince was doing in the studio. And so Michael's read a bit of that, and this is about when he's about to cuss me out.
Because, listen. So here's the thing, and I'm not going to spoil anything. I think it's great to just read it on your own and experience it. But the great thing I will say, and this is the great thing, I got your other books here. What these books do is they bring me, it's almost like you're kind of just a fly on the wall. And you just get caught up in the the whole atmosphere and the work and just hearing about how the songs are made. And as you start to read it, I just feel like, oh man, like you just get sucked into that world. And it's just fascinating because it's just talking about Prince working, making the songs. And this sample chapter, like, it's everything you said it was. And the reason I was saying a friendly FU was because, man, when is this book coming out? Before I say
I don't know. I got to write it.
See, that's why I say fuck, because I was sitting there reading it and I was like, some of the, we're hardcore Prince fans. Some of the stuff you've heard and different things, but to put it in the chronological and sort of telling the story. And what's the gentleman's name? It's an engineer that you.
Oh, there's several. Chuck Zwicky. I'm trying to think which one you're talking about.
It's in this chapter. He's the one talking about like Dance On and.
That's hold on, let me look this up. I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden.
Whoever that gentleman is.
Yes.
Just the way he's describing it. Man, I was just like, I felt like I was in there, like, and then I had to go, just like I do with all the other books, I had to go listen to the music.
Right.
And it just makes the music even more just come alive because you can kind of hear some of the recollection of people who were there and how it was recorded. And when he was talking about Dance On, and I was like, what? I was like, wow. And I'm listening to the song because I want to hear what he's talking, the way that they constructed it. And I'm like, and then it's kind of over after that. That's why I was like, Dwayne, god
damn it. Joe Blaney is the engineer on that.
Joe Blaney, salute to you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Wow.
Is that I think that was the song. Is that the song that they put together in pieces?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, what the cool thing about some of this stuff is he tells a story about them. He recorded up to a certain point and then said stop. And then he rewinds a little bit. It says, okay, start here. And he keeps going. And they did the whole song in pieces. And then he just cuts them together. And it's the song in its entirety. And you're going, I don't hear it. And it's almost like the magician telling the tricks. And then you go back, like you said, listening for it and going, I don't hear. That's how good of a magician Prince was when it came to this stuff, is he was able to hide all those things. And what this does is open it up a little bit and let you know, here's what's going on. And the other thing that I'm doing with this is Prince had talked about how he changed after the Black Album and how the Black Album was this angry thing. And so it kind of goes through the first week of after the Black Album's canceled and how the amount of stuff he does in that week is crazy. It's unbelievable. He just goes bang, 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 bang. And he basically has about half the Love Sexy album done in about a week. Yeah. So it's fun to me. So I just want to give people a taste of that and see what I'm hoping I don't get a friendly FU from everybody.
Well, it's a good, it's just like it's a trailer and it's so good you want to see the movie. It's just like, man,
like
are
that.
you serious?
That's a thing. It's a trailer. I like that.
You're getting one from me. I'm going to get the advanced copy here.
I know, right?
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's
man.
So I should put on that review for the paperback, whatever the book when it comes out. Friendly FU for this book. Michael.
So the book, is it going to follow the Black Album and Love Sexy?
The book will follow. The book, like all the other books, starts the minute the other book ended. So literally, it's what after. And I've already started. I've got the whole book drafted out, and I've already started doing a lot of the interviews. But what's fun to me is seeing the path of him. If you've read the book, if you've read this book, you know that at the end of it, he breaks up with Susanna Melvoin. And there's the cliff that at the end of that, there's Wally, and it's emotional. And where's he going to go? It's almost like the end of Godfather 2 or something like that, or Empire Strikes Back, where you're just going, I don't know where this goes. And this continues on into that. And what's fun is you see in the next book where the relationships are going to go, and the songs Prince was writing become even more autobiographical. I had, and so also within that time period, you have the Love Sexy album coming out, you have the Black Album coming out, or not coming out. You have both the Madhouse 8 coming out, and then Madhouse 16 recorded. You have Jill Jones' album coming out. You have Taja Seville's album comes out. It's a ton of stuff in this 2-year period. Wow. And it always amazes me how much he can record and release in that amount of time. So, and Madhouse 16 is a great album. I mean, I think it's my favorite of the two Madhouses.
Oh, okay.
So that's, so hearing how he does that in a few days, and there's just so much to this stuff. And Susan Rogers is the engineer up until they're working on Sign of the Times, and she quits, and so there's drama in that, and it goes through the Sign of the Times tour, the Love Sexy tour, and then basically taking the band apart. And then at the end of 1988, he fires all his managers on New Year's Eve.
That's why
Fires them all. I'm actually toying with the idea of going into 1989 if it depends on how the story goes. But it might end up being 87, 88, maybe even 89. But right now it's 87, 88 so far because I've been doing them in 2-year chunks. But that's where it is. So really, there's some, like I said, there's some things I'm going. It's fun to find out why he did certain songs, and having the people talk about what people that were in the room, because I wasn't there. I don't know this stuff, but hearing Jill Jones talk about her album and knowing what was involved with their interpersonal relationship coming out on the album and stuff like this. Okay, I didn't tell her to say that. I should have cleared this through you, sir.
So but you're a couple of years away, I'd imagine.
Usually it takes me 2 or 3 years at least to write these things, and then what I do is then I have a few people I know look through it, and my wife is the first person. She's not really a huge Prince fan. She sort of considers herself like a Prince widow, but she looks through it, and what's nice about her reading it is she doesn't always know the characters, other than me talking about it all the time, and I knew you would be, Angela. I knew that. I think I've already mentioned it to you about the 89. But she looks through it for grammar, and she is really good about this. D'Angelo is one of the people that also reads through my stuff. Just full disclosure. But there's a number of people I have looking through it for facts, for errors, and stuff like this. And just always want to make sure I have it telling a proper story, making sense, and accurate as much as possible. It's always. I wasn't in the room, and sometimes there'll be people that contradict each other. Two people may say this is this, and so you got to let people know this is what this person says, this is what this person says, and move on from there. So let them decide.
Is there any more pressure going into this book? You had the first two, fabulous. You upped yourself with the second one, and now here we're coming with the third one. Do you feel any pressure to deliver?
Yeah. That's funny. I told my wife that this morning. I said, I'm really, this is a lot. And she said, you said that at every book. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I think anybody doing something artistic always, there's a period where you're excited, and there's a period where you say, I can never finish this. This is hard. I'm the worst writer ever. And then you go, okay, well, it's worked out. So I think that there's an arrogance to doing art in general. You're asking somebody, I want you to take a week and read my thoughts, or listen to my song. Anybody who's an artist is going to have a bit of an arrogance about what they're doing. So, but it is scary. I mean, I think I've got 2 books I'm really happy with. I could walk away and say, and people go, wow. I read a third one and people go, well, that's The Godfather 3, or that's Return of the Jedi. And they're going, I'm sorry.
Hilarious.
So it's always that risk. But at the same time, it's a great story. And the story behind his, spiritual turnaround with Love Sexy. And to me, the 80s, that's when I grew up listening to Prince, and you want to be able to cover as much of that as possible. I love the other eras. And I want to make sure I say something to people. Is I would love to cover 90s and off. If somebody has done research into the studio sessions and they want to talk to me and do a book about this, I am more than open to doing this. I haven't done as much of the research about that period. And I want to have people, if somebody says, look, because I've had people say, why do you only write this stuff? Like, that's the stuff I've researched. That's the stuff I've spent decades researching. But if someone comes to me and says, I've got all this stuff, let's fold this in. Let's make this big. I've only got a few more books in me. I'm happy to be working on something with another person, making a whole library of these books. I'd be very happy doing that. So,
well, before we go on, we got to honor our super chats. What's up, Deja? That's my homegirl. She says, hey guys, Dwayne, you are the standard for books about Prince. They are informative, detailed, and well researched. It has given me, a new school Prince fan, a more in-depth look on Prince's genius. Wow.
Thank you. Wow, that's great.
That's awesome.
That made my night. Wow, thank you. I can sign
so
off now.
what's been some of the this is a easy question, but what's been the reactions to the second book now? How long has the book been out so far?
Book's been out for a year, and by the time the paperback comes out, I'll be out for a year and a half. The first book came out, and a year into it, the paperback came out, which is standard. But I had a lot of people say, "Why did you come out with the paperback so quickly?" And I was like, "That's the publisher said that." I told the publisher,
this is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet.
You could always tell them that. Go ahead.
Billy Sparks there, nice.
So my bad. Sorry.
Threw me for a loop there. So I told the publisher I'd like to make it a year and a half, and they accommodated this, and they said okay. So it's the reaction's pretty good. I mean, people seem to like it, and the nice thing is it seems to be growing. I think I've got more reviews for the second book than the first book on Amazon. So that's a nice feeling. Is people. I had somebody write today that said, "How did it stay under my radar? How did you stay under my radar for so long?" And that makes me, because I'm not because of me. I'm out there pushing this stuff like crazy. But it's nice to see that people are still discovering it. And when people write reviews, I read every review on Amazon. And good reviews, great reviews are so helpful when it comes to convincing the publisher they should be doing more books. They see this and they're like, "Oh, okay, there's people that like this." And that's it. I mean, I'm always the underdog on this stuff. I always come into this stuff knowing that, I didn't work for Prince. I'm some guy who found some cool stories and never wrote a book before. So I'm completely an underdog on this stuff. So it's fun to have a number of people who are rooting for this stuff and happy about it. And people have been so kind. I mean, really, the people who were there, as well as the people who read the books, and people write me privately. And, I've had people that were going through surgery and stuff like that. And one guy was going through some stuff, and I sent him an audiobook of the thing just because he couldn't do anything. I thought, let him, enjoy this while he's just sitting, can't do anything.
And just because I see people asking in the chat, and I want to make people are coming in and going all the time, remind everyone what's book 3 going to cover again?
Book 3. Okay. Book 3 is going to cover, 1987, 1988, and possibly 1989. So that would be the Side of Times tour, the Black Album being recorded, the Black Album being canceled, Love Sexy tour, Madhouse 8 being released, Madhouse 16 coming out, Jill Jones album, Taja Seville's album, and some other stuff in there too. For those who just joined, the paperback has an extra chapter in it that has seen a section from book 3 of what happens after the Black Album is canceled, and it's the week of recording Love Sexy, and that's kind of fun to me. That people are getting a chance to get a glimpse of what the change Prince did and moving, and in that it has Levi, Alan Leeds, Matt Fink, Ingrid Chavez, Joe Blaney, Chuck Zwicky, who else is in there? Eddie Miller, Cat Glover. There's a lot of people that were in there talking about it. So it's and they all talk about what it was like recording each one of these songs. And it's, to me, I write these books because I want to read these books. If somebody else would write them, I'd read them. That's just how I did it,
I was trying to find a picture as I had an idea for the cover of the new book. I can't find it, but it's the Love Sexy picture. I don't know if it was like an outtake of the cover thing, but isn't he like jumping or something?
I was going to say it's the one with him in the thing with the leg warmers on it, right?
Yeah, that's your cover.
Yeah, that's the cover.
That's the cover. Just if I could, contribute anything, I would say.
That's very nice of you. I'll make sure this is designed.
And I want your name big on a Dwayne. No, I'm just joking.
I also had to figure out who's going to be who would write the forward.
I was going to ask you, yeah. So who
no clue. I mean, I would love to get the last one had Elton John.
Right.
And Questlove before that. I'm thinking, how do I top this? And Elton John came from Matthew B. Tone was able to introduce me to Elton John for this.
Okay.
But I don't know what I have to kind of up my game now. I mean, with Stevie Wonder, try to figure out who would be. There's people that'd be great.
Wow.
Whether they write for my stupid little book, I don't know. But it'd be something So we'll see.
All right. And salute. I see Dave Hampton in the chat
Love
dropping
Dave.
some jewels as usual. Shout out to Funk and Berry. I see him in there as well.
Jeremiah, how you doing, sir?
Yes, sir. Big Sexy.
Yo.
You haven't read that chapter yet, but what do you think about all
I'm
of
still,
this, man?
well, shit. This is what I think about all of it. First of all, I'm pissed at Dwayne for not sending it to me.
Hilarious.
And I'm pissed at you, Dean, for not sending it to me.
Well, it just happened yesterday, so
I don't want to hear it. You know, but having said that, I am excited about it. It's going to be a blast. I've been, letting people know on my side, as we go along about this, and the fact that he's going to hit those critical times, because a lot of us, myself especially, those are the peak creative years.
Oh yeah.
And so if we're going to be fly on the wall there, yeah, I'm all for that.
And the fun thing to me about this album is it's his first album that is done completely at Paisley Park. Everyone out, the Black Album had Sunset Sound at Paisley Park, but this one is all Paisley Park, and that's everything is tracked originally there, and that's kind of a big experiment because it's almost like showing off what Paisley Park can do. Here's my card for the new. And Paisley Park was still only a few months old when he did this, so that's the other thing that's really kind of fun about this. It's the reveal of Paisley Park. It's the reveal of a new spiritual direction. There's a lot of cool things about it. So. Yeah.
All right. And as we go, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as we're moving on, got the number on the screen. So if you want to call and ask Dwayne some questions, now is the time. But so we'll wait for some calls to come in. But Dwayne, you were going to, there was a couple other things we wanted to touch on too.
The other thing I was going to tell you is, first off, let me show you this. If you guys get a chance, go out and get this. It's Susan Rogers' book. I highly suggest it. It's a really good book. She and I are going to be doing a book signing together in Minneapolis on October 15th. And we're also hoping to do something in Los Angeles the week before that, but we're trying to find a venue right now. I don't know if we can find some place. But if somebody has an idea of someplace in Los Angeles, I'd love to do something up with that. That'd be fun. But if you get the chance, it's a really good book. It's not Prince-based. It's about music and about how we get our tastes in music. And I highly suggest it. And anytime she does a book signing, everybody wants to meet Susan Rogers. She's,
all right. Is that book out now?
I don't know if it's out yet. It's coming out. Yeah, she gave me a advanced thing. The other book I want to say I have nothing to do with it, but I just got this in the mail. It's just epic. It's a big book, and I have nothing to do with this book. But
what is the name of that?
The name of the book is Prince in the Songs.
Prince, all the songs, the story behind every track.
Yeah. It's a good book. I just started looking through it.
Do us a favor and just open it for a second. Here, hold on. Let me if I know how to do this. Hold on.
Okay.
Maybe I don't.
Now you're lost. I'm opening it right now. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Let's see.
So
it's got the songs and stuff like that. I'll probably open let's see. So you get an idea. Pictures. It's got the different songs. But it's a good book. I mean, I just started looking through it. I just want to give props to, people. I know I'm here talking about my book, but I'm just happy to talk about any book that's good. Go buy that book, go buy Susan Rogers' book. I'm about getting these things out there. We've got a community of people that are doing hard work on this stuff. September 22nd. Thank you, Chris.
There you go.
That's good. Okay, that's excellent.
I think somebody was asking in here.
All the songs comes out on November 8th.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have just pre-ordered mine.
Oh, good.
How much is that? How much?
$60.
This one says
how much?
$60.
$60.
Yeah, it's a heavy book. It's heavier than my book. Look, I'll tell you, my book's big, but I'll compare here.
Yeah, that's a serious book.
It's a little bigger than mine. Just
interesting.
A lot of weight there.
Showing them up. I know my back is hurting just talking about this. Traction here.
So in terms of the book, and I see it in the chat, and one question I wanted to ask is,
yes, sir.
Is it getting harder to track down when tracks were done or that type of stuff?
There's a difference in it's a lot of the engineers have work orders, which is really helpful. Eddie Miller and certain people came to me and said, I found them. And they said, here's a stack of what I did. They kept them for posterity or something like that. So I'm able to use those and I'm able to have the hours and whatnot. And then you go to the Library of Congress. There's union notes for each band member was a union member. So they have times when they were doing this stuff. And people have, personal diaries, journals, and things like this. And so you kind of then, like all these, each one of them, you stack things up. The Sunset Sound was a little easier because I got the work orders from there. But a lot of the engineers have the work orders from Paisley Park. And it's just a matter of finding them and then having them tell the stories, because sometimes the stories, like I said, contradict each other. And you go, wait, how come, and the fun thing is finding out why certain things happened. And one of the things with him doing songs for other people, like writing for Jill Jones. Jill Jones has a great quote that's going to be in the third book, where she talks about how he, because a lot of times his lyrics reflected what he was going through in his life. But she had said something like he weaponized the people he recorded songs for, basically to tell his story, this is basically giving them the ammunition to tell his story. And I thought, you listen to Jill Jones' album, you're going to hear Prince's story with Jill in that. And I think when you hear people like Jill or other people talking about, this is his philosophy, this is where he was emotionally, that to me makes the music that much deeper. I enjoy going back and listening to the songs more. Let's see. What are your favorite outtakes from Sign of the Times release and why? Geez. Oh my gosh. I like the no. I was gonna say I like the when the dawn of the morning comes. I really like that. I thought that was such a fun song. I like the gospel type, the revival type thing. I loved the longer version of Rebirth of the Flesh. I liked gosh, there's so much. I'd have to actually look back to the list now. Let me see. Let me just open the book randomly and see where I got. Let's see. Violet Blue was really cool. Oh, It Beats Like That Sometimes. That was a great one.
That's my favorite. One of my
favorites. There's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, the Sign of the Times release was I just love the stuff on that thing. I mean, how fun is that?
And again, you can tell me to trigger this is a business if you so choose to. But just talking about Sign of the Times.
Yes, sir.
What's your overall opinion on how it was received by people? The deluxe.
I think it was received well. I mean, I heard people loving it. I mean, it got a Grammy nomination, as I recall. So it must be okay. I heard complaints that it didn't fit on somebody's shelf. So you get the whole range of things here. I think I come into this as a fan. I come into this as a huge fan. And is it true Love Sexy Sessions were filmed? No, that's not. There's certain ones are done when they do with the Olympic Studios, where Prince was recording Mavis and things like that, and a couple jams. But no, I don't think so. I never heard anything about that.
Does that type of stuff still exist? What you just mentioned?
I'm sorry, with the
like the Mavis and the.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, we've all seen a lot of that stuff in the little documentary that came out a couple of years ago. So So I mean, we saw it. That's public knowledge on that one. The reaction to Sign of the Times, I would say, was overall good. I mean, what was that ducking?
I was messing with you. You're a professional.
I think that the reaction to Sign of the Times was pretty good. I go into this as a fan, as a hardcore fan. More music is good to me. I mean, just start dishing out good music, and I'm happy. I'll be eating that up. So anytime there's a box or something like that of more music of stuff I don't know, especially stuff that I've never even heard of before, media training. Even the stuff I'd never heard before, that's to me the best. It Beats Like That Sometimes. I had never heard of that before, so it was kind of fun to when that kind of stuff happens, And we've all heard a lot of stuff that's floating around, but hearing stuff that wasn't even on your radar, that's the best.
And salute to, I see you, Ruth, and I saw somebody mention that in the chat. I hesitate to say what that is because I hope that's not true.
What's that? I see the chat.
Well, here, we are all family here, and hopefully we can dispel this or figure out one way or the other. But
oh no,
hopefully that isn't true. I was trying to look as you were talking earlier, but
Ruth, I hope that's not true.
We hope it's
yeah. Well, it's great. No, that'd be terrible.
Somebody else is saying that. Listen.
Oh, no.
Shout prayers go out to his
please,
family,
please. Yeah,
his friends. Hopefully it's not true. We love Wally. All of us love Wally, man.
Absolutely. I was talking about it on the drive over here to my wife. So I hope that's not true. Wow, that'd be tough.
All right. Let me gather myself back.
Yeah, let's find out this. One of those things you pray is not true. You know, I remember before Prince passed, there were rumors going around of all this stuff. So, you know, it's just hope it's not true.
You know, just one of the I was talking to somebody else, not in here, and we were just talking about there was a young man, was a comedian, that recently passed. It was David something, I think his name is. Some of you guys will know his name in the chat. 54 years old.
Yeah.
And I was just telling, so I was like, you know what? We all know this, but we are not promised tomorrow, man. Like,
no.
And a lot of times we put off a lot of stuff, and we'll do this later, or I'll reach out to that person later, and this and that and the third. But these are examples of David Arnold. Yes, David.
Oh,
Arnold.
yeah, you're good.
Yeah. We can't wait, man. And none of us is getting younger. Let's keep it a buck. Most of us here are up in age.
Right. Now, my dad last week went in for cancer surgery. And so he's doing fine. Thank you for the people that wrote privately. But you just realize at any time that could be the last hug you have for somebody, or that's the last time you make a joke with them, or whatever it is. And you know, we all leave in mid conversation, and it's rough. It was, like you said, make sure you take the time to reach out to the people and keep in touch with them and stuff like that. Important. Yeah. I sure hope that's not true.
All right. Once again, the phone lines are open, and I'm just making sure I'm not missing any phone calls here. But please, if you got something you want to just call in and chop it up, go ahead.
Real big sexy.
You know what?
I don't want to be the one to say this, but Funkenberry just confirmed it.
Oh man, jeez. I'm sorry to hear that.
Damn. Sorry.
Jeremiah, where did you find this out? Can you tell us where he found this out from?
Actually, we're going to take that. Hold on one second here. We have a caller. We'll see if we can get him on the line.
Who's calling?
All right, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What it is, what it be, what it do. This is Randy Ferguson, live and direct.
What's going on, Randy?
First time, long time.
What's up, Randy?
Hey, nothing much, man. I'm enjoying the show, Dwayne. I'm on that Facebook group. I'm enjoying everything that you dropping down there, man. I'm a proud supporter of the two books. I got the book signed in your name as well, so big supporter. Mike, Big Sexy. I love y'all, man. Keep doing what y'all doing, brother.
Man, we appreciate it, man. You got a question for Dwayne, real quick?
I do. So, you know, I'm excited about the 88, 89, you know what I'm saying? 87, 89, 87, 88. Sorry, my bad. Right. But the first question I have for you is, when you just heard about the recording process of Love Sexy, right? And you just said he recorded half of it in about a week. Right. How impressed were you of his fast recording process, even if we finished Love Sexy, which is about late January of the year?
Yeah. He I'll tell you what, I'll read you the stuff that he did. I'll just go through the thing right here and just walk you through the different things he recorded then. Let's see, just take a minute as I go through. Let's see here. Across the Line, which was an Ingrid did a song called Across the Line in the studio. Then I Know, Positivity. Let's see what else is in here. Anastasia, great song. Dance On, Love Sexy, back when it was called Love Sexy. What else in here? I feel like there's something else in there. Oh, and then just more comments about things. So you get the idea. That's all stuff that's just in the first week. That's, basically that's a good chunk of the album right there. I know, and that's all within
both versions of Dance On.
What's
both
that?
Versions Across the Line?
No, just the one.
Both versions
The other one, the line was recorded a week later. I mentioned that, but Across the Line was originally done with Ingrid alone in the studio. It's a version that hasn't come out. But he took her saying "Cross the Line" and stuff like that from that and put that into his other stuff and used that for the intermission in Love Sexy. So he was really inspired by Ingrid to the point that he really the whole album took off based on his meeting her and their relationship. So that's kind of fun to know.
Right.
I mean, I always heard that, but hearing her talk about that and hearing Kat talk about that really kind of opens it up and makes you realize, okay, there's something kind of powerful to their meeting. And man, I'm sorry, I can't get the Wally stuff out of my head.
Yeah, it's kind of
yeah, because Wally's a great guy.
Randy, man, I appreciate you calling in, bro.
Thanks, man.
I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm gonna watch. Keep doing what you're doing.
Man. Thank you so much.
All right.
Jeremiah, where did you hear this? Because I mean,
he said it. I think he said it was from a family member. He couldn't say the name. And
Okay,
some people are saying that his nephew has said so on Instagram.
Thanks, Funkenberry, for telling us that. Because
yeah,
wow,
that's man. See, we gotta cherish these people while they're here, and this is why a lot of people are always push to make sure people are getting included in these projects, because this is why, man. Like, we're not going to be able to get his opinion on stuff no more. And he was there through the really, a lot of good stuff. And this is why we got to make sure that everybody gets to speak, because they're not going to be here very long. I know some people don't want to sometimes, but
there's people that I wish would talk more. I wish Miko would come out and talk, because Miko's got stories to tell. And salute to Miko, man. He's a good guy. Yeah, I love Miko. And I've told him, please do some of these things and just talk. Even if you don't talk to me, talk to some of these people. Talk to Funkenberry, talk to Michael Dean, talk to Chris Johnson. Talk to these people and get these stuff out there. Wally, the whole end of this book is about the song Wally. And so it's like it's hearing him tell a story and all this stuff. Thank you, man. No, I understand. So it's these people. None of us expected Prince to pass, and all of us are still dealing with that. So that's like I said, that the Wally thing makes me sad. The last podcast I did a couple of weeks ago, Wally was on there, and just a good guy.
I remember first time talking to him, before we did the podcast and stuff, and just like I'm like, that's a cool cat. Like, it was somebody I would have been, and I'm kind of feeling it, so my language is gonna get crazy, but that's somebody I would have fucked with music or none of this Prince stuff, regardless. Like, you just wanted them, like one of the homies, like the OGs or something. And we were just mad cool, man. And that's a damn shame. I mean, I don't know what happened. We're all gonna go. I get it. Right. It's just
one of the fun things about Wally is you never knew where the conversation was going to go. It's like you're just trying to catch him. It's like, and you're like, where you ask a question here and the answer's over here, and it's the stories that go all the way over, and you get so much detail to them, and you eventually forget what you asked them. Man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Good brother, man. Good brother.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, man. Wow.
All right. Well,
any call?
We're still talking about the book, and we were saluting Wally.
Well, let me tell you, my people that haven't worked here before. We're going to do a book signing in Minneapolis on the 15th of October. Susan Rogers and I are doing a book signing in the book fair, and here's her book. Get this book if you can. It's a great book. So we're doing a book signing up there, and we're trying to do one in Los Angeles if we can get a place the week before. So we're hoping to make that work. So it'd be kind of fun doing a joint book signing between the two of us. So she's great. I think everybody loves Susan Rogers. She's like the spokesman for all this stuff. And she tells great stories. Oh my gosh. Just listen to her. She just always has these great stories to talk about. So
absolutely, man.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry this happened on you. Well, nothing you could do.
No. You know what? Make this a tribute to Wally. Let's talk about Wally then for the rest of the time. I'm happy doing that because Wally's a friend of all of us, and Wally's a fan favorite. And so many people had such affection for that guy. And so he's one of these guys that's going to be really missed. Like when whether the fans like Dimitri or guys like Wally, you look at these people passing and you're going, God, Steve.
Man. Yeah,
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
cherish them all. We
Yeah,
cherish
yeah,
them all.
yeah.
Yeah, and he'll for me, he'll live on. I'm trying to think. Oh, what's shaking? No, nothing shaking but the bacon. Him, the scene
Oh,
he's
yeah.
got in the Sign of the Times and other
Oh, yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll
Well,
be
this is
immortal with that.
Yeah, this is something I think when they do the box sets, they try to get all the people involved, the
Okay.
voices of all the people. And I think that's, you look at what Andrea Swenson does with her podcast for the those things. She tries to get all these people, and she gets Kat, or she gets Levi, and you get all these people to tell their stories, because that's where the truth comes from. The truth comes from the people that were in the room, and we're all just sitting there enjoying it. And that's some of the fun, the best stuff is hearing. Even in my books, I try to get out of the way. I almost want to have all the people. If I could do a book of just quotes, and I've thought about that. I've thought about doing a book that's just literally Prince's story in just quotes.
Told through other people.
Yeah, totally. And I'm reading one right now about Led Zeppelin, and it's great. And
I got a Star Wars one that does that.
I did this. I read the Star Wars.
You
one
read
too.
that?
There's
Okay.
I read that one. There's one for Battlestar Galactica, and there's another one for Star Trek. So there's all kinds of books about it. And you and I are science fiction nerds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ashamed to admit that right now.
Oh no, not at all.
But so yeah, it's fun to hear those just quotes. And so I've toyed with the idea of doing a book like that, or it would probably be a 2-volume set, because you can't do his full story in one book. I think he's just got so much.
You got anything for us, Big Sexy?
Unfortunately, I don't, because this came out of left field, and it kind of put a pause on things. But let's see if we can bring the energy back up a little bit here.
Absolutely. You're right, man. There's one. Let me put this question in. I saw somebody else ask this, and very much so. Regarding the new book, were you able to contact Femi?
I've spoken to Femi before.
Femi.
Yeah, I know it's one of those names that you're always going. Femi and I spoke years ago. I've been trying to get in touch with him again. I think if I'm going to do 89, it's the Femi year. It really is. He did Batman, basically. He and Chuck Zwicky were the two main engineers on Batman. So I'm hoping to talk to him. I've spoken to him before, and he was a great guy, but we lost touch just because people move and stuff like this. So I'm hoping it'd be fantastic to talk to him, just to, few people know about all the stuff that happened with Batman more than Femi would, because that's like almost a solo album by Prince. And so having the story told by the other guy in the room would be great. So,
one of the things that when I was reading that chapter, and it was you started about the Black Album, and they were like Dr. Fink's quote about, he's at rehearsal learning the songs. I assume he's talking about the Black Album songs.
He is
ready to go. Like, okay, we're gonna start rehearsing and let's go on this tour. And I was just like, a Black Album tour, that would have been crazy.
So we talk about that. We talk about the Sign of the Times tour was even talked about extending. Yeah. There was dates that were sold for the next year for Sign of the Times. They were going to go back, kind of like they did with Love Sexy, where they went back out and did some more dates. So that's kind of fun. So it's those kind of things that are, they're interesting. The other thing about this is that week that was talked about, the next, probably a week after that, which I don't even talk about in the book, is when he did the show with Miles Davis.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so that's the next week. So that's to tell you how much. And Dave, I kind of was thinking the same thing, that Femi's probably working with people, and I think last I heard he was working with Stevie. So he might just feel like he's not ready to talk about this stuff, and that makes sense. We'd spent some time together, and he was great. But I always make sure everybody I talk to and every bit of information I put into here, I try to make sure I have him sign a release and everything like this. And so, okay, he does. Okay, thanks.
He said,
how you doing, Dave? By the way, Dave. By the way,
working
Dave,
with Stevie, like it's just like it.
Yeah.
Like, who? No, Stevie Wonder. Nick. Like,
Wonder.
Big boys in the chat. I get it.
I got to interview Stevie Wonder for a documentary I did. I produced a documentary, and Stevie Wonder was one of the people I interviewed. And it was a good, stupid story about this, but we got into a room and I'm sitting there interviewing Stevie Wonder, and he's playing this instrument, and he's just playing it and singing, and we're just quiet. And he's like, after about a minute, going, "Everything okay?" We're like, "Yes, Mr. Wonder. We're just enjoying you serenading us in this hotel room. And I thought, what a crazy life I led as a TV producer, as a documentary producer. And so but Stevie Wonder is amazing. Oh my God, you can't not be impressed by him.
One of his songs were playing before we started the show, and I was just kind of sitting here listening to music, and I was like, the world is, he's still alive, but in terms of like what's popping right now and the music that's going, I'm like, who is the Stevie Wonder of today? Like, I don't know if there is a Stevie Wonder. Yeah, it may be that I feel like music it's either so commercial or it is so like hard. Like this, when I think of Stevie, I think of love type of stuff and caring, capacity, really talking about our people and stuff. And I'm like, who's sort of offering that feeling today? And I think we're definitely losing a lot by not having somebody who is super popular, but it's like giving us nourishment, and uplifting us and making us feel good, man. It's Stevie Wonder is incredible.
Maybe there's a call for that. Maybe there's a call for that, and somebody will come rise to the occasion.
I wonder if the people would want to listen. That's my thing. Like, I would. Well, we would. I'm talking about like the younger people. Like, would they want to hear that?
I'm an old man. I know. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. I know. Yeah. That makes sense.
Once again, shout out, love, and support to Wally and his family. Yeah. Yes, we done heard the news. He passed. We don't know the circumstances, but he's definitely already missed.
Oh man.
And it sort of all hit us over the head. That's why we are a little bit kind of, we're not on our usual talking crazy because we're thinking about our guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
no, Wally's a great guy. I think everybody here knows what a good guy he was, and he had the podcast and he was just out there with everybody. So just so much fun, and he's definitely a voice that's going to be missed. It does hit you and makes you realize, how important I'm going to be making some calls after this to people I haven't spoken to for a while.
Yeah, all those cats, man. Oh, go ahead, Big Sexy.
I think bouncing back to Stevie for a moment and why there isn't currently anyone like him. And let's be real, there's never been anyone like him. And if you look back into the era, God, I'll just say talking book up through Songs in the Key of Life.
Yeah.
He was everything to everyone. And he was critically acclaimed. He was extremely popular. You couldn't find anyone who could say anything bad about him. He opened up for the Stones earlier on in 72. He is truly
he was badass.
A genius. Earlier in his career, after he took some time off, after he had that beef with Motown, he said to himself, I need to get better, And then he learned a bunch of music theory and comes out and does his thing with Music of My Mind and Talking Book. Like, wow.
Did you see the Questlove's documentary when Stevie gets behind the drums?
At the beginning?
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was like, the thing he did with, and just seeing Stevie playing drums, I'm going, oh my God, you just forget. There's certain people that are just always on this level. And when you get to see them again, you're going, oh yeah, that's why they're at that level.
Exactly.
Now, I remember teachers telling us to listen to Songs in the Key of Life when I was a kid. Saying this is, and they'd say, you got to listen to this. And having your teachers actually say, this is important. That hits you. That hits you.
Yeah, man. And be clear, Stevie Wonder is still alive.
Oh yeah, Stevie Wonder's still here.
We're talking like I'm just saying in terms of the feeling that he gave, during his his long run of just staying on. I just wish there was somebody who could give that feeling and not replace what's going on, but I just think there's got to be a balance. Like, can't just all be drop your drawers, gangster and WAP and all this kind of stuff.
Something to be said about that.
Well, you can have that, but you still got to be able to one man say, this is the first time when they heard me say. That's late Stevie, like
drop your drawers.
Jungle Fever Stevie is still banging to me, but he said these three words. Anyway. Wally!
Yeah.
Damn it.
Well, I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about Wally over the next few days. There's gonna be a lot of this. This is, yeah.
Yeah, good brother.
Yeah, I feel kind of stupid talking about a book right now. You know what I mean?
No, we give him respect, and we're still alive. Still gotta go to work, do our thing.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, Wally's in the book. Wally's all over the book. Wally was interviewed for that, and I think Wally's got quotes in the next book.
Right.
So because he was on the tour, so we talked about some of that stuff too.
Who would be for the next book? Is there anybody like you really want to get in that book that you haven't talked to yet? I know you mentioned Miko earlier. But
Miko would be one that's huge. I mean, Miko's great. I mean, everybody loves Miko, and I think Miko's kind of gotten quiet on things, and that's a tough one. I mean, I'm sad that Bonnie's not around anymore because I would love to hear, because Bonnie's like this mystery, and everybody knows a little bit, but she barely did interviews, and it's just like everybody enjoyed her, but not a lot doing it. So I'm trying to find information about her. I'm trying to think of who would be, and I've talked to a lot of the people. And what's nice is all you guys, all the interviews are out there, all the podcast people have done so many great interviews with, I've transcribed so many of these things. And by the way, thank you to everybody that helps me double check the transcriptions, because that saves months of time. So I'm grateful for that. But between you and Funk and Barry and everybody else out there doing all this stuff, there's so many, all the different, there's like several Chris's that do the podcast. Chris Johnson, all these different ones. And so you've got all these different people talking about this stuff. And each one of you guys comes at it from a different angle. And there's some really great stuff that I hear being asked of some of these people. And I'm going, wow, somebody had a thing I was listening to recently, and Anil Dash had asked a question about Morris Day. And I'm going, boy, that's good. It was about Bernadette Anderson, and how would there be even a Minneapolis Sound
without
Bernadette? Yeah. And I thought, what an astute question, and you start thinking about that, and you start tracing it. I think the nice thing is tracing this stuff back down to people, because we all get on the music and we love it, and that's what you can enjoy in the car. But when you understand that there's people behind this that tell the stories and the things that happen, and sometimes it's a goofy story about them making a mistake or whatever it is, but it makes you kind of go back, like you said, with Dance On. You just said, now I got to hear this, man. I got to hear if this is what this guy's saying. And that to me makes the song, I've said it before, but it's like listening to the song for the first time again. And that's the magic of not only the depth of Prince's music, but the insights that a lot of these people send. And they do it with love and respect for this. I've had so many people cry when they're talking about some of this stuff, and hearing them tear up and just, because this means a lot to them. This means something to a lot of people, and it's not just a couple of us nerds.
Absolutely.
It's worldwide. And so it's always nice.
Yeah. I was actually, was visiting with my daughter in Vegas, and we were over another family members who I had met, but never really had a chance to talk to before. And we got into a heavy conversation about Prince. And I had no idea they were a Prince fan, but they were like super serious. And there were so many questions they had. And luckily I had read a lot, so I was like, yeah, well, this is what happened. And we probably talked for almost an hour, not even knowing that we were going to have that type of conversation. But I realized how much Prince really means to a lot of people that we sometimes don't think about. But there's a lot of people who love them some Prince. They may have not bought all the albums like us and watched everything and all that, but whatever their time period was, that's they shit. Like they carry that, like, right. Don't never say nothing bad. Like that's my little brother. That's how she was like, that's my little brother. We would never. And I was just like, you know what? I get why doing the podcast and things like you're doing, all that stuff is important and good, because there's a lot of people that really do cherish Prince, man. And it's about Prince. That's my point to say, is like that dude did a lot, man. And he's got a lot of love out here.
I think there's a lot of us, and I think probably a lot of people in the chat room now, who those are the mile markers in our life. I mean, we have, relationships and stuff like this, but I can say, where was I when Love Sexy came out? Where was I when 1999? Oh, I remember hearing that in my dorm room. And so we all have those things that there was the real time reveal that Prince gave to us. And, I hear he's going to do an album called, you know, Diamonds and Pearls. Oh, here he's going to do an album called was one of the fake ones that was something in Echoes, like Whispers and Echoes. And everybody's like, "Oh, this sounds like a good one." And it never came out. You know, it was one of these things that we each heard about. So it's we all kind of can map a lot of our lives until we get, you know, until you start getting busy with other stuff. Then you may go away and you come back. But it is a mile marker for so many things in our lives. And I don't want to use the phrase soundtrack of our lives because it is. Everybody knows that, but it's not just the soundtrack. It's like, I remember that because I went to this concert. I remember he was doing this tour. I remember he came out with that album. I remember when that movie came out. I remember going to see that in the theater and I was the only one there, you know, that kind of stuff. We all have that. And that's how you know somebody's really, I see people say, wow, you weren't a big fan before you died. And I'm thinking, I don't care if they're a big fan before they died. I just want, you know, every time you show up to the party, I'm cool with it. And, you know, it's a
love
party.
is love, man.
Yeah, come in whenever you want to, man. The door's always open, and we're always happy to share the bean dip with everybody. So come on in, man.
Yeah, as long as you coming in showing love and respect,
right.
It don't matter what time you get here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But when you do get here, we got the door open for you. You know what I'm saying? And,
and
welcome to the party.
Absolutely,
you know
absolutely. And I've heard people be mad, you know, angry. How dare you not be a big fan before that? I'm like, don't tell somebody how to live their life when it comes to Prince fandom, or to how much they should mourn or anything like that. Don't tell anybody that they mourn for too long or whatever it is. Stop it. You know, it's personal. It's personal. He sang to me in my headphones. I heard him. So yeah. No callers. We have had no call. What the heck's going on? Nobody.
Well, you're answering a lot of the questions here.
I said I don't see the chat rooms. I don't see these questions. I'm assuming nobody's out there.
Oh, we're addressing. I think we're addressing everything.
Okay. Well, tell me what
you got love out here. There's almost 150 people.
Oh, really? I really thought there was like 3 people here now.
Stop it.
The 3 of us.
Stop.
3 of us. Bunkenberry and Hampton are out there, and that's it.
Hilarious. Now, see, you know, mess around and start having me ask you some questions.
I'll answer questions.
Okay.
Do it.
I'll answer questions.
Well, let me ask you this, and I listen. You know, I got so much love and respect for you. So all of this is coming from that. If you can, and I'm not going to ask you nothing crazy. Trust. How are things? You know, now the family is more involved in different things. Is there a lot cooking? You don't have to say what's going on, but are there things cooking that we can be excited for whenever things do happen? Is things being worked on or movement being happening?
The thing is most thing to talk about.
See how his mic ain't working now? Stop.
Most thing I always tell you, man, this.
Okay.
And that's all I have to say. No, I think first off, I'm really excited the heirs are you know, behind stuff now. It's nice to know there's blood involved in this, and you've got 2 different groups. You got the heirs and you got Primary Wave. And Primary Wave, if you've ever seen some of the catalogs that Primary Wave takes care of, it's like Ray Charles and it's Olivia Newton-John. There's just a Whitney Houston. I mean, you get a bunch of well-known people. So they sort of know what they're doing, and the heirs know Prince. So you put the 2 together, and you're going to have this. I hope something pretty amazing.
Okay.
You know, and that to me is exciting. Is, you know, now they've got direction, and now that because Co-America was there to officially oversee things, just, you know, to get the IRS taken care of, and now that that's done, you know, let's open the doors.
Let's get it popping.
That's
okay.
Exactly. So I'm excited about that. That's exciting for me.
No, the calls are not done. If you want to call in, call in. Hopefully, I'm not
Were
missing.
You ever approached by Netflix or the estate for the documentary? In what way was I ever approached? To be in it? I wouldn't be in it. I don't. To me, I mean, I imagine the documentary would be all the people that were there.
You know about the documentary, Dwayne. Stop playing.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear about it.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Forrest, calling from Dallas, Texas.
What's up? You said your name was Forrest?
Yeah, Forrest.
What's going on, Forrest? You got a question for Mr. Duane Tudahl?
Yeah, hi. I've read both his books. I love them. And I had a question. did Prince really wear makeup every damn day? I mean, just going into the studio to record, nobody seeing him. Did he really do that every day?
This is not, I was not there, so I cannot claim this. But what I've been told, yes, that he would dress to the nines, he would smell perfect, he would have his makeup on, have his hair done perfectly, and he would also go to bed like that, from what I understood. And Ruth would be able to answer that probably better. But
call in Ruth.
Yeah, exactly. Call in Ruth.
Dare
But I love Ruth.
Salute to Ruth. Ruth,
yes,
you need to come on the podcast. I need to ask you, but you need to stop playing.
Ruth is the coolest.
Ruth's great. We did a podcast at for Questlove one time, and that's how
I heard that.
That was fun. Yeah. But from what I understand, yes, he did. He always did that. The thing that I thought was interesting about Prince is something he used to do, and I think Afshin told the story, is that when he would do his rehearsals and stuff like this, sound check, and then he'd tell the photographer, find me 3 places in the venue to take pictures. And after he'd leave the stage, they'd walk and do a photo session here, here, and here. So all of a sudden he had 3 new photo shoots done like that, done in between his walk from the stage to go rest before the show. You know, that kind of stuff, that he would be doing that to a lot of people. I love that. He wouldn't dress up all the time in the makeup, but he rocked the Skyliner
studio.
There you are.
Hey, we're talking about Prince, man. If he want to go to bed with makeup on, goddamn it.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Your girl like it.
There you are.
Vault Curator, thank you for the super chat. Really sorry to hear about your lost guys. R.I.P. Wally. Question for Dwayne.
Yes.
I'm keen to learn more about the early years of Graffiti Bridge. How deep will the next book go when it comes to that project? Love you all.
And thank you, Vault Creator and I've talked offline. If there's if it does go to 89, it does cover some of Graffiti Bridge.
Hold on, caller. We're going to get you next. Go ahead.
So if it does go up to 89, it would cover some of the Graffiti Bridge. But Graffiti Bridge, the album itself, is mostly the greatest hits of, unreleased songs. A lot of it is stuff that, Tick Tick Bang, and a lot of the stuff Weekend Funk are things that he did before. So it's some of the stuff is covered just because it's there when he did it. But
okay,
I would love to write. Like I said, I would love to write books about every era. It's just finding the information. And if somebody knows this stuff and wants to do something, yes, I made the announcement.
Yes, you made the announcement that the estate was putting a list together of people that they're going after, and you was at the top of the list, sir. That's my man.
I know. No, I know he's great. He was in the Questlove thing we just talked about.
Yeah.
The announcement is there's a paperback of the book coming out. In the book, it has it's not an expanded version, but it does have some new information from Susie Davis, who had a diary of dates that she worked on the Purple Rain tour. So some of that stuff's in there now. It also has an extra chapter. And the extra chapter is from the 3rd book. It's a sneak preview of what goes in the 3rd book, which is what happens after the Black Album was canceled. It doesn't talk about leading up to the Black Album. It's the day after the Black Album was canceled and the first week of recording Love Sexy. So we were just to make sure he knows who I interviewed for this stuff. Let me pull that list up here real quick.
And caller, hold on. We're going to get to you right after this.
Right there. For that, we interviewed, sorry, I wasn't ready for this one. Levi, Kat, Dr. Fink, Eddie Miller, who's an engineer, Chuck Zwicky, Joe Blaney, and Ingrid Chavez, who was interviewed by Scott Bogan, a friend of mine. So also a super fan.
And that chapter is fire. I have read it.
Michael's read it, so you enjoyed it.
Michael's read it. Michael's read it.
I sense the hate in you.
That's on him, man. That's on him. He didn't say to send it to you.
Caller, are you still there? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Andre from Detroit. How are you?
What's up, Andre? Did you call in before?
Oh, yeah. Maybe about 2 or 3, 20 times.
I remember.
No, just 2 at a time.
What's going on tonight, man? I have a question
for 3 of you guys. Nothing much, doing laundry, about to go to bed, man. A question for 3 of you guys. We haven't heard anything on the. You guys are insiders. Maybe you've heard, but haven't heard anything on the box set front from the estate. Just would like to know, like, from the three of you, what would be your dream box set, and what would be like something like, what are some surprises you would like, and whether it be a live, show, or whether it would be like, okay, these type of outtakes, like, hey, I want to hear an outtake, 20 outtakes of Love Sexy. So
well,
that's
okay, here's my
my
question for you first. Since you're on the phone, what would be your dream project? I want to know your thoughts.
Good deflection.
Wow, man. Man, I'm just gonna be biased, man. Detroit Live.
We're all biased.
You know what I mean?
Well, tell us what Motor City. Tell us what Motor City wants.
Man, release. That's Detroit doesn't want this. I just want it. Release 5 live CDs from Detroit. That's it.
The Detroit box. I could dig that.
I like that.
Detroit, what's happening?
That's quite nice. Yeah. All right.
Somebody should really do a thing about the love that Detroit had for Prince. Like, is that?
There are certain places, Detroit and the Netherlands, are both like so crazy about Prince, and Prince loved both those places too. So man, well, go ahead, you guys. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Big Sexy, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are talking in the chat about Parade, and I think Parade would encompass the Detroit shows. But for me, I want, and again, I'm going to stay in that era, but I'd like to see any extra footage or work from these other sessions, like doing the Madhouse, doing the Jill Jones stuff, doing Tyler Seville, because none of us, well, I can't speak for everybody else. For me, I had no idea he was doing all this behind the scenes. Right. No idea. So some of that footage and, secret sauce would be nice. And then I like to see the assemblage of Diamonds and Pearls. Because he came off of the Nude Tour and went right into that.
Right.
Dig it. I dig it. Mine's would be the Prince Morris Day box set. So all the Time albums with Prince's vocals. It could be like the regular albums, and then like the Prince versions of them tracks, some of the jam sessions. You can call it them brothers, the Time box. I just need that era. That would be, I want from the first album all the way to Corporate World. Y'all could put Corporate World on there just so it finally got a release.
Right.
But yeah, that would be, I'd be dead after that.
I'd say I would love to see the Gold Experience expanded. I'd like to see that and Come both be, see, because there was so much that was, bounced back and forth. I think that would be really cool. This is not a cop out, but I'd love to see a box set of his post Warner stuff with rarities in there, but with the stuff that was good. Because there's a lot of albums that came out after the Warner Brothers stuff that had some good stuff on it, but it didn't get the play it should have. And I would love to see it get some of the love that it deserves. A Morris Day box would be great. The Time box would be great.
Another one would be an expanded deluxe of the Rainbow Children with Exception. But the thing that y'all can charge the extra $100 for is that video, the Kevin Smith thing that they shot.
Oh yeah.
The Q&A and all that. I know you'll be watching that in the vault there, Dwayne. Stop playing with us, man. But we want to see. But that would be, man. Say no more. Go ahead.
No, I think that I'm trying to think. Any album he's done has enough stuff on that you're sitting there going, "That's gonna be great." And each one of them you're gonna be like, "Yeah, the 25, yeah, that'd be great." 25 remakes of that. There's any album he does, I would love to see a Dirty Mind box that has extra stuff on that. To me, it'd be fun, and I'd love to see a concert from that. I'd love to see. Yeah. I would love to see a Love Sexy box. Really, if I'm working on this stuff, it'd be nice to see that. And it's just, literally, I can't think of an era that I wouldn't want. Parade, you mentioned Parade. Parade would be a freaking great one. There's how many live shows from that would you want to see? You want to see the one that's the anniversary today. Today is the anniversary of the last Revolution show, 9/9 of the Yokohama show. Ooh. So today's to throw that back full circle. Yeah, that's exactly what that I'd love to see that. in good quality. Because like most of us have seen is that show that, was floating around the internet, was done by somebody's, you couldn't even tell that was the show. That was a video that was floating around about that years ago. So yeah, that there's a lot, and the Parade has so many great songs on it. And then if you want to throw in, what else from that era do you want to throw in? Because it's just, I'd love to see a Madhouse box, with all the other stuff on there.
It's the Paisley Park thing, even if it's just the regular albums, but at least they're available.
Something.
But
then you had the B-sides, you had 13, all the different things. You want to have all that stuff. It just, and have the other 24 albums that came out, that didn't come out. There's just so much. Make an Eric Leeds box set,
Ooh.
That's just Eric Leeds stuff, because that would be good too. That's just so much. I mean, I would love to see a Sheila Greatest Hits and have Prince's version of those songs, and like I said, the time, and I mean, the Family album should be that. I could talk all night about this stuff. I'm breaking my computer. I'm so angry with it. And so there is so much. I mean, literally, you could name any era, and so somebody in the group that would go, yeah, that's my era. Nobody's mentioned Emancipation, but even that would be kind of cool to expand.
Interesting. Ooh, that would be a big one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot he was putting into that, and it's not my favorite album. But somebody told me one time, and I thought this was really fascinating, that they were much younger. They said Emancipation was their Purple Rain, and I thought,
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
No, I thought that made a lot of sense. I was like, you know what, you got to the party at that point, and that's when that's your entry point, and that's your, and that's totally fine. And I thought that it was Casey Brain's girlfriend.
Just put them on out there.
Yeah, so yeah, put all this stuff out there. So yeah, I know.
All right, Vlad.
I don't know.
Oh, you know what?
Exactly.
Caller, thank you. We got other people calling in. I'm not even paying attention.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right,
From
good night,
Detroit,
good night.
baby. All right. Area code 804. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Michael Dean, man. It's Ricky. What's up?
Big Rick. What's going on, man?
What's happening? Yo, what's up, Big Sexy? Say what's up, Dwayne?
How you doing?
What's going on, Rick?
This is Rick from
Hey, man, living
Grown
dream.
Folks, right?
Where from?
Yeah.
Grown Folks.
GFM?
Oh yeah. That's what I thought. I thought the voice sounded familiar.
Man, what's up? So you got a question for Mr. Dwayne here? Or a comment or something?
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, since he brought up Madhouse, I'm sure the new book is going to kind of go into some tour stuff and possibly 16, correct?
Well, yeah, the next book goes into because Madhouse opened for the Sign of the Times tour. So I talked to Matt Fink about that. I talked to Levi about that. The Madhouse stuff was great. And then after the thing, they start doing Madhouse 16, which, like I said earlier, that's my favorite of the two albums. So there's going to be details about that. There's a lot of details about Madhouse, the first album, in the book, the regular book. So that stuff is in there. But I love that they recorded that in like 3 or 4 days. That just blows my mind.
That's crazy.
Madhouse is one of these fan favorite albums, and the fact that you can just sprint through that thing in a couple of evenings, you're just going, geez, it took me that long to listen to it. That just blows my mind. So,
yeah, man.
Oh, I want to say something.
Well,
sorry. What's that?
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to tell something else. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask, when you were talking to them about the tour, opening up for Sign of the Times and doing the 16, what was their recollection? I guess, how did they come across, to you, how they felt about that stuff?
So far, the funniest thing I'd heard,
Levi.
The thing I'd heard so far was Matt didn't know he was going to be part of the team, and he kind of got thrown in at the last minute. And he was talking about how he and Levi would be doing the Madhouse show, then doing the show. First off, doing the sound check, which would take a couple hours, then the Madhouse show, then the Sign of the Time show, and then an after show. And that's just it's like 12 hours of just playing. I thought that's just crazy. That's crazy. You think about what Prince had these people doing, and they all did it, and they all stuck up because Prince had the work ethic, so they had to do the same thing. That's mind blowing to me.
And look, I hope their pay was
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on
He'll be
that.
able to extra unity.
I wouldn't bet on that too much, but that's just,
Pay them an experience.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing is what you get out of that is you get
I'm gonna let you go though, Ricky, but thank you, man.
you get the experience of having been able to say,
Cool, man.
thanks, Ricky. But it's like working for George Lucas during Star Wars. You may not get paid a lot for Star Wars, but your resume says I did Star Wars. So it's the same kind of thing with Prince. Anybody who worked for Prince is going to have, get that, get the extra money on the next job. So
Unless you're the engineer that got fired on some dumb shit.
A good illustration of that is Rhonda, because she said that before. She's played with Prince, and she just wrapped up a stint with Jeff Beck. She's like, you can play with them, you can play with anybody, and people know that, and that's why they call.
All right,
and
we got another caller.
Musician. Yeah, okay.
We want to get our callers here, and caller, are you on the line or did you hang up? All right, we got another one coming. All right, caller, you're on the phone. Can you hear me?
I can. It's Stacy Boyd from Atlanta.
Stacy, what's going on?
Hey, Stace. What's up?
Hi, Dwayne. Hi, Stacy.
How you doing?
You got a question or a comment for Dwayne?
I'm sorry, my TV was on delay, so I'm sorry for being a laggard. My question is more of a comment for Dwayne. Dwayne, I love your books. I was happy to be involved in a very, very small way and just being able to transcribe for you on book 2.
Great, thank you so much.
My comment, you're welcome. My comment is, Dwayne, especially since Wally, this recent Wally departure is sad, and I'm going to be reading your books, every single book you put out, and I just wanted to make a suggestion that maybe we could speed up the time that we get to speed up the time that you take to do interviews up until the 2016, because I would love to see a book on that last year of Prince's life.
Yeah.
And so if you ever think about that in the future, I would love it if you could already start gathering interviews before then.
I have already started on whatever it is. Every time I get a chance to interview somebody, I do. I've interviewed a number of musicians of the 90s and beyond that. But yeah, I mean, there's only so much time and everything. This is the nice thing about the podcast. Like I said earlier, is these guys are doing a lot of that work, and they're doing, and it's incredibly beneficial, not just for my books, because that's just one aspect of this, but just for history. I mean, these guys do historical stuff where, and all the interviews for Wally now, we're all going to be going back and listening to this. I'm going to reread his book now, just because I'm like, a little choked up because, a lot of us had a relationship with this dude, and it hurts. It hurts. Right. It also hurts to be on here having to express where you feel, because it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of us.
Absolutely.
Big Sexy's able to hide behind a screen, so we don't see his.
Stacy, thank you so much. We got people calling in. I want to give
Stacey,
everybody an opportunity.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you for calling.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything you do, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
See, if I had my camera set up, you'd be seeing all the obscene gestures I'm making for not getting my advanced copy of the paragraph.
Somebody and I'm sorry, with some people who called in, I wasn't able to answer, but the lines are open now. So if you want to call in, certainly do. We're going to hang out a little bit more here.
Let me tell you,
here we go.
I'll tell you, okay, you got one. I was going to tell you, I got something.
All right, caller, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. Absolutely.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Kyle Christian, man. I'm calling out of South Carolina.
What's going on, Kyle?
Nice.
What's happening, sir?
What's happening? What's going on, Mr. Tudahl? What's up, Mark?
Hey,
I just had one question, man, and I forget about you, Mark. DM me, man. I do have something for you. By the way, I just had one question for you, Mr. Tudahl. During the time that Prince was recording, let's say 1999, going into Purple Rain.
Yes.
Do you have any input on Jesse's impact, especially on albums like the Sheila E. record? Because what I understood that Short Dirty Straw Cake, Jesse had some strong input in that.
I talk about that.
Credited.
Yeah, I talk about that in the first book, and I got to remember the facts. I don't want to tell this. I have to admit, as I move along, some of the things I had to re-look at them again. But I think the story was that that was a song that he had written. No, it was he'd written another song, and he written another song, and Prince just took that, and then he called and said, "Oh, by the way, I want to put your as credit as writing this song." And he's like, "Oh, okay, sure." And he ended up being credited for Strawberry Straw Cake. And he didn't do anything with that, I think it was what it was. So, but Jesse's impact, I mean, first off, Prince has said himself, Jesse's one of the few guitarists he's afraid of. And that's a big thing right there.
Absolutely.
The Time Ice Cream Castle album, Jesse's all over that. He's all over that. Whether it's the song Ice Cream, title song, Jungle Love, all those things he has something to do with. And I think that it's not, he had a lot of say in this, and I think that with the Jesse was considered to be Bella St. Mark, exactly. Thank you, sir. Jesse was considered for a little bit to be the lead singer for the Time after Morris left, and it just briefly
wasn't there a video that recently came out?
Yeah, but
it just surfaced. That video you're talking about just surfaced not too long ago. With they had asked Jesse that on the QLS thing, and he didn't remember it, and then it came up, and that was when Morris had cut. Jesse was at the forefront, and you could hear Paul singing lead. So I take it that moment also solidified the deal when Prince decided to create the family. And the other thing I wanted to ask you was real quick.
Wait, you said one
question. Jesse's influence was. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Good.
The other thing I wanted to say, you can tell a lot of times Jesse goes overlooked, but his influence on that Ice Cream Castles album was extremely dominant because you can hear the remnants of The Kid Can't Make You Come. You can hear that real blues guitar. He's a real blues guitar player to the core. Right. You can hear that in that breakdown during The Kid Can't Make You Come, and then it carries over into Special Love when he did his solo album with Jesse Johnson's Review, that first record.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, between that's pretty much it. I don't want to take up too much time. Much respect to you, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
Mark, I'll be getting at y'all later on, man. Y'all be good. Be safe, man. Watch yourselves out there. You dig?
You too, Kyle.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And I appreciate you, man. Kyle's one of those scholars that really be onto the music, and it's like every day I get a message for him. He's always hit me up with something. So much respect to
the community itself is full of people that know their stuff. I get called out on things. This instrument wasn't available, and I'm like, thank you for telling me, because I can only know this much, and I rely on when I put out a book. The funny thing is, I've said this before, but every time I put out a book, it gets peer reviewed, and I hear it good and bad from people, writing to me and saying this is, and it's important for me to do that. So when I do the paperbacks, I often incorporate as much as I can of adjustments, tweaks, corrections, just to make sure it's right. So
all right, we got another caller, area code 704. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mr. Dean, this is Melvin Rush in Little Salisbury, North Carolina, near Charlotte. What's going on?
What's going on, man? That's one of the
you
homies.
And my man, y'all got it going on. You and Mr. Tudahl, thank you so much for what you all do for Prince's legacy.
Thank you.
Love, man. Yeah. What's on your mind tonight, sir?
My little question is, being a musician and a big brother, as you know, Mike, about Prince, but a drummer, Mr. John Blackwell, dear friend of mine.
Birthday's today, by the way. Sorry.
Say it again.
Today's his birthday. Today's John Blackwell's birthday.
You know what? I know that because I actually talked to his girlfriend yesterday. His wife, his former wife. But what was Prince's relationship, as much as you know, Mr. Tudahl, about with him and Prince and Blackwell, beyond just playing music? The recording, one of my favorite recordings is the Rainbow Children. What do you know about Mr. Blackwell?
I can't speak with any authority on that. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I can say as a fan, it's obvious that Blackwell brought something amazing to him, and just watching. First off, Prince has a series of solid drummers throughout his career. You can always look at the career based on the drummers he had and what he brought to it. And he must have enjoyed, at least in some respect, working with him. I don't know what their personal relationship at all, because I haven't researched that as much, but
Right.
a lot of love I have for John Blackwell and what he did. I mean, last full concert I saw was of theirs was Blackwell playing drums on the Welcome to America tour.
Wow.
And Stevie played at that show, so by coincidence, to bring it full circle. But yeah, so it's just I can't express how Blackwell's one of my favorite drummers he worked with. Absolutely, across whether it's watching him go like this or whatever, there was something about his power behind his drumming. So I put him up with Michael Bland in that.
Yep.
All right, Melvin.
Outstanding. Thank you again. I read the first book. I got to get to the second book. But be good. Love both of you all. Keep on keeping on.
All right, man. Have a good night, man. Peace. All right, lines are open. I just saw this comment. This is a head buster.
Oh, wow.
Jesse Johnson, new edition with UTFO. Some of y'all don't even know nothing about no UTFO, but that would be your first concert. That's dope. Wow. That's crazy. I would just love to go back in time for that. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you cold want to be with me because that's that UTFO. Y'all don't know about that. I was telling a friend this funny thing I remember about Jesse Johnson. There was a New Year's Eve concert here at the Tacoma Dome. The headliner was Morris Day. The special guest was Andre Simone. If I remember correctly.
Wow.
For some reason now I want to say it was Jesse, but I think it was actually Andre Simone. I didn't get to go because I was too young. But I always was one of those things like, I wish I would have went to that. Like, and you would like, when are you ever going to see that again? An arena show with Morris Day. Yeah. Andres. But yeah, man. But
what year would that have been? This
it had to be in the 80s.
Got to be Oak Tree Tour.
It was it had to be 80s. Probably, it was a solo thing so it had to be one of those.
Right. Color Success of that album.
Yeah, man.
Solid.
All right. So we got what time are we at here? We were a little long.
I want to ask one more thing. Is
is this Adriana?
Hilarious.
All right.
You know, the funny thing is it just automatically answered. I don't know how that. There be some hackers out here, man. You gotta be careful.
They fought their way through.
Yeah. Is this Adriana? Stop it. You got what kind of life you got to live when you're doing stuff like that? But anyway, you were going to say something.
I was going to say something. The book with the paperback coming out, there's going to be a different way of doing it this time, because in the past I've sold sold the books through my website. I'm going to change that a little bit this time. Whereas I'm not going to be selling the books through my website. What I will suggest, if people want to buy it through Amazon. The reason why I'm saying this is because they can get it much cheaper doing that. And I'm going to sell, I'm going to have little book plates that I will sign or personalize, and I'll have those up, and I can just send that to somebody. They can just stick it in the front of the book. It'll make it so they can not have to spend as much money, especially the people in Europe, because the people in Europe were spending way too much for a book and for just postage. And I felt awful. You know, every time I did that, I felt terrible because I would break it down as much as possible. And then sometimes books got sent back. So then it goes, it got really expensive for everybody. So I think what I'm going to do is do book plates, and personalize the book plate, and you can take that. I've done that with, I've gotten other books signed by other people, get a book plate and just stick it in the front. But I think that might make it easier for you, and you can get it from Amazon quicker than you can probably get it from me too. So,
okay. Yeah. All right. And real quick, we're going to wrap things up. Is there a date of the paperback release?
Paperback comes out October 15th. And on that same day, we are doing a book signing in Minneapolis with Susan Rogers, where she's going to be pushing her book. I want to show that again. And we're doing a book signing up there October 15th at a book fair. That information will be on my website by that point. We're doing a joint thing. She and I are also going to be doing a book signing, hopefully in Los Angeles at some point in early October. We're trying to work out a joint book signing there. And yeah, the book comes out October 15th, has the extra chapter in it, has a few extra pieces through the book. It's not expanded. I said I wouldn't do an expanded book. It does not say expanded anywhere on the cover. But it's basically about the same size with the exception of the extra pages of the extra chapter, which Michael's read, and Big Sexy's never going to forgive him for not getting a copy of that. So. And I'll probably get the same thing. And next time you guys see me, he's like, "Oh, you didn't send me that book, man." I get that.
Well, once again, I want to thank you, Dwayne, for coming on, for suggesting doing this, because we weren't going to go live tonight, but this has been great. Thank you, sir.
It's worked out well. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So good. And just also want to thank all of y'all watching who have took the time out of your life to spend some time with us tonight. Comment. We want to give our love to Wally Stanford's family and his friends. Man, we are missing Wally big time just hearing that, but we're going to keep pushing forward. But hey, we got love for that man, and I know that's kind of it's hurting me talking about it, but we all here together, and we want to say that we love you guys.
Yeah,
this is why we're doing it. Go ahead.
One other thing I want to do, I'm going to randomly, I don't have the thing in front of me, but randomly pick out, I've got a poster of the book cover. Book cover. And I'm going to sign that for, if you want to just go up, Michael, why don't you do that? Why don't you go up and down the list and just randomly pick a name out of there. It's all on your shoulders now.
Somebody's going to say, oh, he was favored.
Oh, you pick me,
here,
man.
I'm just going to like scroll, and wherever it stops is who it is. Bam. So there you go.
Preston Pearson. Okay, Preston, write to me and get me your address, and I will send you a signed poster of the book cover.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't sell those. They're just some things I've made that I want to just kind of give out occasionally for people. And yeah, so reach out to me. And if you don't,
hey,
he's going back in the hopper.
Snooze, you lose.
No, I want to try to do something like that. So when I do the book signings, also, I'll probably bring a poster or two and do the same thing where I'll sign personally to somebody there. That's like a drawing. It'd be kind of fun. Yeah.
All right. And once again, we thank y'all very much. Big Sexy, thank you for coming on the last minute. Appreciate you, brother.
Always, always.
And yo, y'all already know, work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.